live on Thursday, right? Thursday, February 12th.
Yeah.
Season is officially done. So it is time for looking towards other things. We got about 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks away from the combine starting, or the underwear Olympics, as Dad used to call it. I think a lot of people call it that, but
no, he made that up.
So yeah, that will be fun to react to or overreact to, and some people say it doesn't mean anything. Some people say it's super important. I think it's somewhere in the middle, personally. I mean, teams definitely affect their draft boards based off the combine, so it means something. So we'll see what happens there.
It definitely means a lot. Sometimes I'm going to say that it means a lot, and sometimes we overdo it, what it actually means, for sure. But yeah, it's another piece of the puzzle. It's not the answer to the puzzle, which people need to keep in their minds. Just like draft capital is not, what they did in college is not. None of those things are the answer. It's just another piece. So let's do it. When is the combine?
When?
Yeah.
I think it starts 2 weeks from today.
Oh, shit. I did not realize that soon. I knew it was soon. I didn't realize it was that soon.
Yeah. It's usually 3 weeks after the Super Bowl, I guess that would be 3-ish weeks.
So it's still in February, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
For some reason, I was just thinking early March. I mean, not that that's much different. We got a short month here, so.
Yeah. I might actually bleed into March a little bit, but I think the first 2 days is a lot of like weigh-ins or offensive line stuff. So for fantasy dynasty stuff, I think the big days are Friday and Saturday, or Saturday and Sunday, one of those. So, but yeah, we got that.
I was just thinking, I was like, for people that don't know, the combine is this, and it's like, who the hell doesn't know what the combine is if you're watching us?
Yeah.
I don't think it needs to be explained. I think it'll be interesting to talk about important metrics of the combine on a future program. We're a fucking program now, apparently, for different positions. I mean, not that I am any kind of expert on that or anything, but, I've listened and learned a lot over the years. And there's no one thing definitely for any one position, but there are some people that are much smarter than me when it comes to this stuff. And so I will try and relay that information the best that I can. And I will do the same.
Yeah, there's an article actually by PFF that they put out, like, this is probably 3-4 years ago now. And they did like kind of show which drills actually mean the most for each position. And basically like the 40-yard dash. I'll pull it up. Yeah, maybe later or on another episode. But it was like the 40-yard dash is basically like the most overrated combine drill. Like, overrated in the sense it doesn't predict success, not overrated in the sense that teams definitely like move people up their draft board based on 40. So
it's important to realize too, like, team context is important. Like, Xavier Worthy running the fastest. It was him, right? The fastest 40 ever, or maybe just that year. But like, that's important in context of like, okay, so he could be this for the Chiefs. Like, once he got drafted by them, like, it's not just because he's the fastest. Like, it depends on where he goes and how he's going to be used, So that's important for sure.
Yeah. Xavier Worthy, a 4.21. So which is pretty insane. Right. I was thinking about it like, shit, it might not even, like, I'd be happy to get under 6 or something, like, it's crazy what these guys can do at their size and stuff. Obviously, Worthy's not.
I'd be happy to have a number it only takes 3 digits to fucking represent, like.
Yeah, right. Seriously. Is the fastest ever. He beat John Ross. So just goes to show, like, John Ross was a huge bust. he was a top 10 pick in the NFL in 2017, and he did nothing. Bo Jackson, though, unofficially clocked in the 4.1. So, if Bo Jackson was a freak of nature, I wouldn't be surprised if he ran in the 4.1s. So, which is insane because he was also like, I don't know what his weight was at the time, but
was that at his pro day? No,
it might have been like before electronically timed stuff. So
yeah,
all hand timed. But I mean,
back
even
then,
to like
40-yard dash was only 38 yards.
But even to be like in the conversation there, because like he was like 225 or something. Like Xavier Worthy is 170 pounds. Like it's insane. But yeah. So yeah, we're just kind of talking, trades. I pulled up some interesting trades that I found recently, both in some leagues I'm in, but mostly just through the database there. So if you guys have any trades that recently went down, drop them in, or just any questions at all. By the way, the next not big day, but the next date for us Dynasty players is February 17th, which is just less than a week away now. At this point is when the franchise tag opens up. So I think that runs until early March of being able to franchise tag people. So ETN, Pickens.
I do like the NFL's done a really good job of kind of doling this stuff out. And maybe it's always been this way. And the more I've paid attention over the last decade, the more I've learned. And I'm sure it's a little bit of both. But they're really good at making themselves relevant to people like us throughout the year. Where it's like, shit's always happening. Everything's always happening. It's not just the season. And the deeper you go, like the more you realize like that you don't know. And then you try and like get as much information as possible. But you never really know until September comes.
Yeah. I mean, there's really only like a period of time where basically it's like the end of like rookie, I forget what they call it now, but it's like, anyways, between like late June and between then and the training camp starting, where there's a little bit of a down period for 2-3 weeks where there's just not really anything going on. But yeah, the NFL is kind of year round now, and that's how they want it. They're taking over all the days. So I wouldn't be surprised. I know people are talking about the NBA does a draft lottery where like, the 10 worst teams get put in a lottery, and the worst finishing team has the highest chances, but they're not guaranteed the number one pick. I wouldn't be surprised if the NFL moved to that, just because like that gets a lot of views for the NBA.
Yeah, more bingo balls with the Spurs on it or whatever.
Yeah.
I only bring up the Spurs because Ron watches the Spurs a lot.
Yeah, and then there'll be
pseudo stepdad.
They did it in the 90s where Patrick Ewing, he was the obvious number one pick, and the Knicks got it, and they're like, oh, like because they used to pick envelopes, I believe it was. And they're like, oh, like they froze the New York Knicks envelope, and it was colder or something, and that so they could get Ewing on the Knicks and blah blah blah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, but
I remember that there was that John Travolta movie in like the early 2000s, I think, where they like rigged the lotto, and like what they did was like they like injected the balls with like a little bit of liquid that they didn't want picked, and so they were heavier. And then like it's like, oh, like the balls they wanted to get picked, basically. I don't even remember what the fuck that movie was called, but it kind of reminds me of that, or it's like yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So Burrito Masters here. He said he had a startup and quarterbacks went crazy, which is a little surprising because all the startups I've been watching, quarterbacks are definitely being pushed down a little bit. But he says guys like Goff, Mayfield, Ward all went in the 4th round. So he has Stafford and 10 plus backups. Any advice for the next 6 months to fill that second QB hole and address QB for the future? He did get the 106, 112 in 2 seconds. So I've been hoping this will be more appealing in the couple of months. Yeah, the picks are always going to rise in value up until you're on the clock, really. That's when they're maybe the most valuable, potentially.
Depending on who's there and who's shopping for what player, right?
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, who to target is going to be tough. I mean, who are your backups? I guess is one question here. Like, are any of them kind of like, are they like legit all backups, or like some of them like, I don't know, Malik Willis and
Even Kirk
Jacoby
Cousins.
Brissett, Kirk Cousins? Are they those type of players? Because if they're those type of players, like, and you have a handful of them, you probably have a QB2. I mean, I don't know if they're going to perform at the QB2 level, but you have a QB2. I mean, yeah, like, can you go out and try and get, man, so hard. Like, with quarterbacks are always hard to trade for, but
I think,
even, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, it sounded like you were like right in the middle of something there.
Oh, you're good. Good.
I think honestly, like, and it's so hard during startups, but this might be one of those situations where, I mean, let us know a little more context for your league, like right here in the chat. Tell us, like, I mean, you obviously got some other really good skill position players. Like, if you weren't even going after these guys, so I mean, that means basically, I'm kind of curious, where did you get Stafford? Who did you get in the first 4 or 5 rounds or whatever to kind of dodge this or not dodge it, but like avoid it, I guess, the run on QBs. It sounds like it might have been more like a startup like that we would be in, where it's like, well, I don't know why this guy's still here, because we definitely value quarterbacks in startups, in super flex leagues. But I mean, honestly, depending on the makeup of the team and everything, and that you're most likely not going to get anyone of like crazy value or even like any kind of starter this year, it might just be you're punting this year unless you want to trade some of these picks and everything to try and get somebody like a Darnold or something like that. Like, I mean, you don't even know if Stafford's going to start. Like, as of right now, we're thinking he's going to.
Yeah, he announced he's coming back.
Oh, great.
Yeah, when he won the MVP.
So even then, like, I mean, do you start going after, like, you just got to really think about how you want to build this team, right? Like, you just started, no one's played a snap yet. Like, do you have guys that are like super proven talents, that are maybe even just in bad situations or even good situations? Do you have a CD Lamb versus a Justin Jefferson, for example? Like, those two guys have different outlooks for this next year, as far as we know right now. So that can kind of dictate, maybe you do try and like punt the first year, which is always kind of like a hard thing to do right after a startup. But you just kind of have to be realistic with it, and do you want to start trading your future for a team that you like, for kind of band-aids for something that you're lacking? Or do you just kind of basically say like, no, maybe not this year. We have a good QB class in the making, supposedly, again, it's back to like the combine talk and like predictive things and all that stuff. QBs are always hard, right? Like, we know there's going to be some, we don't know if they're going to be any good. They could all be busts, so I think it's a hard needle to thread, but I'd be kind of curious to see where some of these guys went, and maybe you do just kind of play for the future to a certain extent and not give up these younger, like, talented assets, and just kind of assume like you're going to have to like figure that out a different way. I mean, obviously you can trade that 106, that 112 and start getting some pieces and stuff, but if you're putting band-aids on it and it doesn't work out, you could be setting yourself further back, especially if you start trading even further picks down the line. Like 27s and 28s and stuff. Just dig the hole.
Yeah, he said even QB3s went wild. He has Mariota, Flacco, and Ewers are the best hopes I got for a starter, which I think there's a decent chance one of those guys are starters.
For some games.
Yeah, maybe for the season. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Mariota goes somewhere and he's like a bridge quarterback. Again, we mentioned it all the time, but 8, 9 teams need a quarterback, and 1, maybe 2 are going to get that covered in the draft. So what are these other guys going to do? I think Mariota can easily look what Jacoby Brissett was doing. Like, he can be brought in and be a quarterback. Ewers, they're talking about is Quinn Ewers. Are they just going to move on from Tua and kind of swallow that contract, kind of like what the Broncos did with Russell Wilson? And look where the Broncos are a couple years later. They're in the AFC Championship game.
Or the Browns. They're not there, obviously, but I mean, they basically have to eat Deshaun Watson's contract, which go get him if he didn't get drafted. I'm sure he did in the 16th round or something, but you never know.
Yeah. I mean, even guys like Anthony Richardson, Justin Fields, can you buy low on these guys? There might be a shot there with a couple of them. I mean, can you buy low on Aaron Rodgers and just hope he comes back? Someone might be willing to take a chance on selling him. Like you said, Kirk Cousins, Geno Smith, these type of guys, Tanner McKee. Yeah. In the draft, I mean, you could reach, I doubt Mendoza falls, especially considering how these guys are drafting quarterbacks to the 106. Obviously, if he falls to the 106, you scoop him up, but I would be shocked if he did. Ty Simpson's the other one. Like, I think the 106 probably too early for him, but it also depends on where he goes. A very good chance he goes in the first round, and people would have said, "Oh yeah, the 106 is too early for Jackson Dart." Well, it wasn't. So, like, you could take a shot on him at the 106. I think he for sure going to be there. So.
I'm sure I mean, Carson Wentz got drafted, but I mean, as of right now, he's still on the Minnesota roster,
Yeah. I thought I heard something about him recently, but yeah. So luckily you don't have to start a lineup right now. But I would be, trying to buy low on some of these guys again, like Michael Penix, JJ McCarthy, Kyler. I think all these guys are going to be starting next year. Very good chance that they are, and they're pretty undervalued. So can you go out and get them potentially?
Yeah. What I find is that right after a startup, like, people are still going to look at that draft board, and they're not going to want to basically say like, well, I took this guy at the 407, so I need something that went earlier, and that's not necessarily fair trading anyways, because everyone has different valuations. Like, let's say at the 401, sorry, like, I'm looking, okay, there you go. Like, let's say at the 401 is where you got Bucky, right? Like, I'm just kind of assuming this is like the order that he went in. There you go. Like, let's say the 401 is where he got Bucky, and the guy at the 407 took like one of those QBs, like Mayfield or something like that, and they're like, well, I'm gonna need Bucky plus something, and it's like, well, obviously, like, you could have just taken him there, and that's not necessarily fair for you to do either. Hindsight's always 20/20. You don't know what the other people are gonna do, but sometimes, Mike, I think you have some interesting kind of like experience with this. Like, you always called it the QB Horde League, where you're just like, I don't understand like why these other teams are not drafting these guys, like Aaron Rodgers, like, in the 10th round or whatever, when there's so many, like, people kind of get stuck in their mindset, like, where it's like, well, I'm not drafting like these old guys. Like, I'd rather take a shot on like this younger receiver or something. So I don't know. You kind of have to be a little fluid in your thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. Kevin says he loves trading during this time. Yeah, I think it's the best time to trade and really take advantage of situations. You can also lose pretty badly too. Give my Achane and Ayuk, get Brees and Rashee Rice.
Man, that is a rough one. I mean, obviously there's a pretty big downgrade from Achane to Brees given what we've seen, right? But like we have such high expectations for Brees, and like we know his talent is there. We don't know what his situation is going to be next year. We don't even know that for Achane, honestly. Like we don't even know his quarterback's going to be at this point. Like it's not like a locked in thing like Chase Brown, for example, like where it's like, oh, we know Burrow's going to be there, like assuming health and all that stuff. Head coaches change and it's tough. Like, how do you value Ayuk? Like you have to you have to have conviction, I guess, in a trade like this. Like you have to know, or have to think anyways, or feel very strongly where that Brees is going to go to a better situation, which is very, like, it's basically like extremely possible, right? Like the Jets don't need him, but it's also very likely that he's just stuck there. And it's not like he's been terrible with the Jets, just, that there's more in the tank, and the downgrade from Rice to Ayuk is equally, and like it's the exact same conversation, right?
Yeah.
But Rice has bigger things kind of going against him than just like the Achane, like than Brees Hall does, I guess, right? So I feel like I'd rather just keep the Achane and Ayuk side, just because you have at least kind of like one more or less guaranteed thing there, with the possibility of Ayuk going somewhere like the Commanders. Like we all wanted to go there because that's where Debo went, and at least be a low end wide receiver 2, most likely a wide receiver 3.
Yeah, and there's a connection with Jaden Daniels. They played in college together.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with the Brees Rice side. I mean, there's obviously I don't know. It sounds like the Rashee Rice stuff, which didn't sound great, was kind of like settled outside of court or something. Again, it doesn't necessarily, one, it's just a shitty situation in general. And then 2, like, this is the second or third time like he's kind of come up in some legal issues, so there's character concerns there and stuff, but like
that's big. That's something that I'm definitely like paying more attention to, because for such a young player to have like repeated stuff like this, like I'm kind of starting to extrapolate a little bit in my head anyways, where I'm like, do I want a guy that's potentially going to have an issue like this every couple of years, even to where it's like, okay, like now there's questions, and it could just be a great buy low opportunity. But I think I'm basically selling him at where he's valued now, which I'm going to pull up Keep Trade Cut real quick. But I want to say he was in the top 12 still for wide receiver. I'd rather just get out, and then if you can get him at that value, or he's 13.
I put out a video of just like looking at tier 1 players, and then players that I think could be enter tier 1 as soon as next year. And Brees and Rashee Rice are both in that, in my opinion, that both those guys can enter into tier 1 as soon as next year. You remember that Brees had an RB2 season in 2023? He was RB2 overall. Year? No, his rookie year was 21, 22. But
it's been a while.
Yeah, 2023, he was the RB2 overall. Points per game, it was a little bit less, but easy to forget that. He averaged 17.1 points per game. So anyways, I think both those guys, like if Brees gets on the right team, he can easily be a Saquon Barkley, like player. I feel like Saquon Barkley was kind of like, before he went off his 2,000-yard season, he was kind of in a position similar to Brees, where like, we know this guy's good, but he hasn't really proven it. Obviously, Saquon proved it more so, but over the last like couple years leading up to that 2,000-yard season, he was kind of like, yeah, he's good, but he's not like great. And so can Brees do that? I think so. And Rashee Rice, man, when he's played, I mean, he's been like a top 5 wide receiver the last 2 years. Now, 2024, he only played in a handful of games before he got injured. And then, last year he was suspended and then he got injured. So it's only like 10-ish games or so, but he was putting up like elite wide receiver production, and he's tied to Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, at least for a couple more years, hopefully. So I think I might just go with the Brees Rice side. And just because I don't really know what Ayuk is at this point, like you said, he's going to another team. At least that's what the Niners are making it sound like. He's already about to be 28 years old. It's just like, what is he?
He's definitely going to struggle. I get, like, you make a good point, right? Like, both those guys on the other side, Brees and Rashee Rice, can still kind of elevate. Brandon Ayuk is never going to get beyond wide receiver 2 territory, not even high end wide receiver 2 either.
Yeah.
Like, that is his ceiling given his age. Like, he can go out and have like a crazy, 1,700 yard, 10 touchdown season, and he still won't move up that far. Like, he might in season, and like, obviously that's very, very unrealistic to even think about, like, I'm not even saying that's like in the cards really, but anything's possible. I don't think he's that kind of talent. So don't hear like what I'm not saying. Like, even if he did something extraordinary that completely like no one ever saw, he's still not going to move up that far, is what I'm trying to say. So I get it. I get what you're saying.
And also, like, the best season we've seen from Ayuk is a wide receiver 2 season. He's never been elite. So, and that was, we're going on 3 years ago now. Well, 2023 season. So, I think I'm going to go Brees and Rice there. So obviously Achan's the best piece there. So Dylan is our newest member in the Poseidon League, and he made a trade right off the bat with Garlic Bread. He sent away Jacoby Myers and Alec Pierce, and he got back the 304, 201, 301, 206. So a couple of seconds and a couple of thirds for those guys. What'd you think of the trade? Now, important to take note that this is a deeper league. So guys like Jacoby Myers and Alec Pierce are 100% starters in this league. Clear cut, like, it's not a shallow league at all. So these guys are in the starting lineup each and every week. Even Alec Pierce, like, from 2024, obviously he was awesome in 2025, but even Alec Pierce from 24 was probably in lineups more often than not in like a 12. Obviously we didn't have that league in 24, but in a 12 by 12, he was, 800 yards, 7 touchdowns, is probably in lineups in that league. So what'd you think of the trade? And I thought it was an interesting one. My gut reaction was like, oh, I want the picks. But then I was like, yeah, but the players are legit starters in this league too. So I think it's a pretty even trade. But
yeah, I don't think it's completely like one-sided, like where it's like, I mean, I was kind of looking at like the 201, the 301 for Jacoby Myers. Well, I'd rather have Jacoby there. And Alec Pierce, like, that one's closer, because like, I mean, the 206 is already like a nice piece, like at face value, I guess. Like, I still don't know enough about the rookie class besides like what I've heard from, you and others as far as like the depth of it. So like that could work out, but I was like, my knee-jerk reaction, it's funny because like this happened 2 days ago, And honestly, I just hadn't even seen it yet. Like I got the notification and just kind of forgot to circle back to it to see what happened. I'd rather have the players given the format, but loading up the quiver with 4 picks for 2 guys that are not necessarily like high end, like that's okay. Like that's not bad. I do think it's pretty close to even. Like I can see both sides of it, but I'll take the players.
Yeah, and just for reference, so again, it's a 12-team start, 12. So you're starting 144 players each week are being started. Alec Pierce in this league was 84th overall. And Jacoby Myers was like 94th, 96th. So they were both top 100 players in the league where you're starting 144 of them. So not league winners, but definitely starters in this league. But the same argument is like, but he's also getting 4 picks, and that potentially could turn into 4 starters, right? So I think it's a pretty even trade overall. The only thing I would say is Alec Pierce could get a value bump here, like if he gets on the right team through free agency. And so like he might be even worth a little bit more, but also he could not be worth that much more depending on where he goes too. So like he could go to a team that we don't feel so great about. That's always the risk with these free agents, right? So I liked the trade. I thought it was solid overall. And who knows, like the one thing we do know is those picks are going to go up in value most likely. Now, people are not super excited about this draft class overall, but like, I'll reference it a lot. Like people weren't excited about last year's class. This was right around the time when people started to be like, oh, actually this class is pretty good because it was super deep at running back. Then the running backs didn't even do that well this year, for year one. Everyone said it sucked at quarterback. What happened? We got a number 1 overall pick. We got Jackson Dart, who's comfortably in the top 10 of quarterbacks, or he's in the top 10. Tyler Shuck, who's a starter next year. Even someone like Shador Sanders is being kind of valued as like a guy that, I don't know, 60, 70% chance he's a starter. So like this draft class that everyone said sucked at quarterback, it was like, oh, actually, it gave us Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, Tyler Shuck, 3 guys that have a lot of value now, So I guess that whole point is, we just don't know how this is all going to play out. This draft could be very deep at wide receiver, and that could make, that could push it. I can already see a path of like the first 10 picks are pretty nice, and then that's going to potentially grow a little bit. So
yeah, if you go all the way down to the bottom, Dylan asks like which guy in the league is the one on the right. Oh, sorry. I did not understand that until I actually read it. I thought he was talking about the trade where he's like, I thought he was basically asking who Garlic Bread is. Am I on the right? Like I'm on the right on our screen. I don't know if it appears that way, but I am Taco Missioner.
Yeah, he's the taco.
I am the taco. If that was the question, Dylan.
Yeah.
So feel free to make fun of my team.
Hey, you got second place. Yeah. But yeah, I think I thought it was an interesting trade. I'll be interested to see what those picks kind of turn into. So it's really like up in the air still. But again, I think those are 2. Like we know what those guys are. We don't know what the 201 could be, right? Like that could be something like that could be the best piece easily. Like in the we know what Myers and Pierce are. And honestly, like, are we expecting Alec Pierce to repeat what he did? That's another thing too. Like, I think he's closer to what he did in 24 than he is in 25, which it's not a huge difference, but it's enough of a difference. 10 catches when you only catch, 37 passes or something is a lot, a couple hundred more yards and stuff. So, but yeah, I think it was a nice one. I mean, this is great, easy BTJ there. Versus the 110.
Obviously, the classes are completely different, but look at what could have been with that 201 last year. Like you could have gotten Dart there. Like you could have gotten Judkins, one of the tight ends. You know, you could have gotten Scattaboo. But I mean, it easily could have been. I mean, Caleb Johnson wasn't falling that far. You know, it could have been Golden. Like it's not all roses for sure, and the classes are different. But yeah, it could definitely become the best piece for sure.
Yeah.
I felt like Luther Burden was going there a lot too.
Yeah, he was. Even Emeka Ibuka.
Yeah.
Would sneak into the second round. But yeah, I mean, it was really deep with running backs there. So, yeah, easy BTJ there, Kevin.
No, you can't just brush over Kevin like that. Good job,
well,
Kevin.
I mean,
I
yeah,
like that.
Kevin knows that he's smashed on that trade. Like, what trade package would you give up to move from the 109 inside the top 5? I assume you're talking about, the team in Poseidon there, Dylan. I mean, I think that's a pretty, in this draft class, and you're kind of mentioning it here, where like there's a fall off after the 101. There's probably another fall off after the 104 and 105, another one after the 108 potentially, although that could stretch to the 110, especially in a 1.25 tight end premium. Kenyon Sadiq's going to be comfortably in there. So I think it's a pretty big jump up though.
And you're still going to be kind of like, if you are just trading up to the 105, you're basically going to be taking like one of those 3 receivers that falls, or the tight end. Yeah, like I don't think Mendoza is going to fall that far for like in that league specifically, or I don't think he's going to fall to 105 like in most super flex leagues. Just given the economy of it, but I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, but if you move up to the 105, then you're guaranteed either one of the 3 receivers or Mendoza, or I guess Sadiq if you evaluate him.
That's what I was saying. Like, I think it's one of the 3 receivers, and maybe not even the one you like the most, or Sadiq if he's there, given the tight end premium. So I think you're kind of be stuck with whoever's left. Like, you're gonna have the choice out of like one of 3 guys, like so.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm at the 104 and I would draft Mendoza. So,
there you go.
But
so trade up to the 104 with Mike, I guess.
Yeah. But I would say I wouldn't be shocked if he does fall to the 105 in a lot of drafts, because again, people love those 3 receivers and Jeremiah Love. So I don't think I think the 104 or 105 is probably more likely where he's going to go, just because people are down on quarterbacks. There's already stuff coming out of like, how good is Mendoza? Yes, he's the number 1 pick in this draft, but some people said like, oh, I had Cam Ward a little bit ahead of him and stuff. Like, there's other people saying like, do the Raiders actually trade off the pick? Considering they have 3 quarterback needy teams, Jets, Cardinals. I thought there was one more, but Jets and Cardinals, 2 quarterback needy teams right behind them. And you kind of, you fill up for 2027, which is supposed to be a way better draft class for quarterbacks. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to look at your team, Dylan, and really see like what I would do for that trade up there. Not for myself, but I'm saying like to trade up to the 105. I will say, and if you're not used to, and I know you made we were talking in Discord chat, and you're kind of saying like, oh, there's a lot of like kind of commenting on how many starters there are. It tends to lean towards like the team that can really fill out that roster, even if they don't have studs, even just a couple of studs, but they can fill out their roster, is probably going to do better than the team that has like 2 or 3 studs.
Yeah, so, you'll be shocked by some of the guys that are getting started. I mean, it's 144 guys, right? Like it goes deep, it goes very deep.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to like look through and find who was like in that range, but I mean, who are you starting in the championship game? Was there anyone crazy?
God, yeah, I don't remember, honestly. Product of too many leagues, I guess, which I just shed 3 of them because there was a huge shakeup in some of the startups I did from a few years ago, to where it was like part of the reason why I got out of some of those was the platform. Like I don't mind MFL, but I just love Sleeper so much more. And so it was kind of like, all right, I think it's time to jump ship. And I really do think I left those teams in very good shape. Like either they all made the playoffs or were serious contenders, which was a little hard to walk away from. Like, oh, maybe one more year. But I just figured it was kind of better to just kind of leave them like where they were. So hopefully I can be a little more focused on what I would consider my more important leagues. I don't know if I can actually look at who I started. Hold on, let me just like kind of pull up my team.
Might have to go to the old league year.
I mean, I was
look back at the matchup.
I mean, I was starting, Pittman and Cup, like obviously not great. I made a trade to get ETN on my roster, which is he'd be an obvious starter in most leagues.
I mean, here's Jordan Mason was 158th overall. So like he was sneaking into obviously like beginning of the year for sure, but like he sucked last year. He was not very good. And like he was almost a fringe starter technically, right?
Even guys on my roster down here like Christian Kirk, TJ Hawkinson, Freiermuth, like Freiermuth being like the best of them as far as like what he actually put up. Like those guys were regular in my rotation, and look at what they were doing, like those guys were there, and I made it to the playoffs and made it to the championship, so.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk, Dylan, though. We'll talk about, I might be interested in moving off the 104. So we can talk there and moving back to the 108 for sure. Other league is the start 10, bench 17. So just a little different. Also haven't done tight end premium. Yeah. So this tight end premium, again, it's a PPR 1.25. I forget if it was this league or Zeus, but Trey McBride, according to WAR, was the most valuable piece in the entire league. More valuable than McCaffrey, than Josh Allen, than Puka. Like Trey McBride was the most valuable piece, and even more so because the drop off was insane to tight end too. So yeah, it helps with the start 12 with the tight end premium. Because there's other tight ends that can get in there. But yeah, getting 2.25 per reception and you're catching 120 passes is kind of a cheat code,
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah. And now I'm a little confused. I thought Pete took Trey McBride at the 101, but maybe not. Maybe he took Josh Allen or something.
I think it was Josh Allen and Brock Bowers. I don't remember if that was this league.
Yeah, I think it was.
That was like the back-to-back. Because he traded up into. He had the 101, or he had the 102 or whatever, and he traded up for. He had the first 2 picks, and it was Josh Allen and Brock Bowers.
Yeah. I got Trey. He dropped a lot. Trey, who are we talking about here? His history is multiple 50-plus games. Who are you talking about there, Dylan?
It's got to be McBride, right? I mean, it's not
Trey
Harris
Palmer
or Lance.
Trey Palmer. Oh, you have him Poseidon. Yeah. And he was the most valuable piece. So there's an argument for like someone like a Kenyon Sadiq to go in the top 5 for sure, if we think he's going to be that good. So Bo Nix and Hunter Henry or sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and we've seen, and don't get too enamored with it because it is there's not a lot of history of this yet, but like we are starting to see a lot more of this first and second year tight ends like really like playing well. It's not like it seemed like when we really started getting into Dynasty, it was like, oh, you got to wait for like 3 or 4 years for tight ends to even show that they're capable, you know, like, and maybe it does go back to that, you know, like maybe this is kind of like a blip, but I do remember hearing a lot about tight ends in general, like just kind of like how they're being treated in high school and in college, to where it's kind of like, oh, maybe that is a position that's being valued more differently than how it was traditionally.
Yeah. It is, you know, also there's a lot of like they're less dependent on like tight ends. Like, okay, we're just going to use them more as like a slot receiver or something. So, well, who are we doing here? Bo Nix and Hunter Henry or Shuck and Ladd? I think that's an interesting trade. And I actually might. Do I go Shuck and Ladd?
I'm just looking up Hunter Henry's contract right now because
I think he has another year with New England.
I think it's kind of easy for me to go Henry and Nix, given the contract, I guess, of Hunter Henry, that we know like he's a very important part of that Patriots offense. Like I think there's going to be some shakeup there for sure. Because I mean, look at how good they were with basically an aging Diggs and kind of like just like a very like ragtag group of receivers at like for Drake May. So I mean, he might not be as important this following year, but I mean, he's proven that like he has rapport with May, and he's an important part of that offense for sure. So I think that, yeah, I'd rather have that side.
Tyler Shuck took over as the starter in week 9. Who averaged more points, Bo Nix or Tyler Shuck?
From I gotta go Nix.
Tyler Shuck by a full point, 17.6 to Bo Nix's 16.6. I can't remember if Bo Nix left week 18 early, so that might be affecting it. He does only have 10.5 points, so he might have left that game early. But even if I take that out, it's going to be basically like even. So I don't know, man. I mean, you get McConkey with McDaniel coming over. Looks like Bo Nix played the entire game. So I think that's right. They needed to win that game for the number 1 seed. So, yeah. So I don't know, because Hunter Henry, like, is it a non-tight end premium, Marv? Like, Hunter Henry is awesome, and you know, we were harping on like buy low on Henry all season, off season last year, and that definitely paid off because Henry was awesome. I don't mind if you believe in Shuck, I don't mind the Shuck and Ladd side, because you're getting, you know, a stud piece in Ladd potentially, and then, you know, what's the difference between Shuck and Nix for fantasy? It might not be that much. So it depends on your belief in Shuck there.
It really does. It really does. And I guess maybe I'm like a little slow when it comes to Shuck. Like, I know he played well and everything. Things change a lot more rapidly at quarterback now than ever, you know, so I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't even get to start all the games next year. Like, I don't know who's like Rattler's not going to take him off the field necessarily. I mean, it's possible, but like I don't see that really happening. Like, we already had that battle this year, but I just kind of feel like Bo Nix has kind of established himself proper. Coming off the injury, obviously, broken ankle, expected to be healthy in 4 to 6 weeks. So, I mean, he's got a lot of time, obviously, to like make that happen.
Apparently, he did have a lot of like, you know, Sean Payton said that he had some ankle injuries before, and Bo Nix was a little upset that he said that about his injury history. So, yeah, I could definitely see both sides here. But yeah, if you do believe in Shuck, like I wouldn't be shocked if like Shuck and Nix are kind of like very similar in fantasy production, and I do think Ladd will be better than Hunter Henry unless it's like a pretty heavy tight end premium. So, Marvin BTJ or Caleb Williams. I think I'm gonna go Caleb.
Yeah. Super flex, no doubt about it.
Yeah, for sure. One quarterback is easy, Marv BTJ. But yeah, I mean Caleb. I mean the guy's awesome. I don't think we've seen it. Like obviously we've only seen him for 2 years. Like you actually go look at his numbers last year. It wasn't amazing. You know, he threw for 30, just over 3,900 yards, 27 touchdowns. Like nothing crazy. Ran for 388 and 3 more touchdowns. So he had 30 total touchdowns, 3,900 yards passing, and almost 400 rushing. Like nothing too crazy. But I don't think I think we could see a 40 touchdown, 4,500 yard season from him, and I wouldn't be shocked. So I'm gonna go Caleb there. And then Bo Nix and Darnell Washington.
I know. Like when I saw that, I was like, fuck, what's Pat Fryermuth's contract? Are we really talking about Darnell?
I mean, Darnell Washington, like also like didn't he blow out his ACL or something? Like at the end of the year,
injure himself somehow. IR a month ago doesn't say what happened. Weird. But what was Fryermuth? Did Fryermuth not get a contract? Like I swear he got a contract like right before the season or even mid-season. Am I misremembering that?
Let's see. Maybe it was his 5th year. No, yeah, he got a contract extension.
Yeah, it's significant too. Obviously, like things are shaking up with the Steelers. You know, Tomlin stepped down. Like it sounds like Rodgers wants to, or maybe not Rodgers wants to, but it kind of sounds like there's a good chance that he's going to be back, or a 50-50 shot anyways. Fryermuth just got paid, so I don't know if Washington's really anything.
No, and then he did have surgery. I don't know what it was on. It was like literally the last game of the year, so the IR stuff doesn't really tell me much. But
so again, super flex, it's the quarterback.
I will say this: if you're pretty good at quarterback and you have like another QB, a QB4 there, like a Tyler Shuck, that could be your QB3. I don't mind it. But if you're giving up Nix and he's like your QB2 or like he's your only QB3 or whatever, then I probably pass and just I keep Nix. So.
Yeah, if it was, it's going to take more for me than like Watson to like kind of make up the value between Bo Nix and Rashee Rice. I guess is kind of where I'm coming from.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like, I'm optimistic about Watson. I'm glad I have him on a couple teams.
Yeah, definitely.
Stuff like that. But like, the dude needs to stay healthy for a season, and he hasn't proven he can. So, yeah, we'll talk about the 101 and 104. And he's also interested in Fields and Olave. So Dylan's making moves. Should we be trading all our 26 picks for 27 picks? It depends where they're at there, Michael. Good name. But for the most part, yeah, especially later rounds. Like I would happily trade, the 206 or something for a random 27 second, 205. I'm probably just doing that because I do think next year's class can be incredibly deep, like in 24. So it depends what picks you're talking about.
Have you started putting out? I know you've been looking at guys already. This is a window a little bit for the listeners, like how much we actually talk off camera, especially these last few weeks. But like, have you actually started? I assume you've been scouting and everything. I know I told you I would help you kind of fill that void because our dad was a big part of that with you, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's going to ramp up now that we're past the Super Bowl and heading into the combine and stuff. But have you already? I'm sure you've been looking at tape and everything, but have you really been scouting as hard as one might think, or are you just kind of getting ready to really ramp up into that?
For most of the top guys, I haven't gotten very deep yet, but yeah, for most of the top guys, for sure. Um, my issue with this class is, I think it's what's going to make or break it is the running backs, and like Jonah Coleman is like considered like the number two, him or Jadarian Price, who I really like. So two Notre Dame running backs, potentially 1 and 2. Like Jonah Coleman, I don't know. Like I'm struggling to find that third running back that I really like, and that's kind of scares me a little bit, because we know that like to kind of find gold in the second rounds, it's probably going to be a running back for the most part. So yeah, so most of the top guys, yes, but not super deep yet. So I like to let combine performances will probably judge who I kind of get into next, I think.
Yeah. And like I
definitely
like
deep
I
with the
told you,
receivers though. Sorry. I have
yeah,
gone pretty deep with the receivers, like 10, 15 deep with them. So running backs,
that
I'm like, no.
that's actually like so like I know I've kind of said it on here before and to you like privately, like I want to get more into that, and I can be a little bit of the the audience surrogate, like I had the benefit for years of listening to you and dad talk about that stuff, and like I always wanted to, and but it was kind of like, well, they don't need me necessarily, like not that I wasn't needed, but it was kind of like, okay, like it was easy to kind of leave it up to you guys. But I wouldn't mind being a bigger part of that, and I could be kind of like the audience surrogate a little bit, like, all right, so what are you actually looking at, like
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting, but I've just kind of defaulted to people who know more than me in the past. So look forward to that, you guys.
Yeah. I would say the biggest thing for me is just like, I really like receivers that can just, it sounds stupid, but like get open. And like I just kind of fade the receivers a lot that don't create a lot of separation stuff. Like
Yeah,
even what's weird is
separation.
like BTJ, for example, in that draft class. Like not that I didn't have him as like a first round guy or like top 5-ish guy, but I was kind of like, like I'm a little bit higher on some other guys than him, and that hasn't really panned out either. Like Worthy was one of them. Um, that I was a little bit higher on than like BTJ, and obviously, um, you know, that didn't play out that way and stuff. But I don't know. But to see like BTJ kind of struggling now, Keon Coleman was another one. I was just like, I'm out on this guy. He can't separate and stuff. But yeah, we'll definitely talk more about that. But we'll probably get out on this one. So Jay says he needs some help or advice. He has a good core. He has Hurts, Nix, Puka, Neighbors. Traded Kenneth Walker mid-season, but need to upgrade my running backs. It's hard to get top guy. Yeah, top running backs are going to be hard to get, especially how they've been performing lately. Names that can go after. So, I mean, obviously the top guys if you can get them, but I kind of think like Bucky and Brees Hall are two guys that I think could enter tier 1 potentially. So I felt this way about like Drake May was like the one big call where it's like I think I'm valuing him as like a potential tier 1 guy. I think Bucky and Brees Hall, even though they are, both in the top 12, could be like really pushed up to tier 1 guys, especially Brees Hall. You kind of have to make the move now. I think Kyron's pretty underrated. Kenneth Walker, man, I was so excited to buy low on him everywhere, and then he just went off in the playoffs, and it's like, well, that kind of sucked because now I can't buy low on him.
That coupled with the Charbonnet injury too, even though we don't even know that Walker's going to be there, but I mean, why wouldn't he be almost at this point, at least
Yeah.
as a tag?
I mean, honestly, like that RB8, if you go to keep trade cut, that RB like 18 to 24 range, like Kenneth Walker,
Yeah,
Josh Jacobs, ETN, Javante, Derrick Henry, even Swift, who I believe is still under contract with the Bears. Like those are some players that I'm going to be targeting because I don't understand why Josh Jacobs is all the way down at RB19.
I think there's actually like even if you expand that scope a little bit, like it kind of really depends on your team makeup, like did you make the playoffs this year and just had like one bad week and you were out, or even like made it to the championship or even into the second week of the playoffs? Like that's a lot different, like the guys that I would be going after than if you're kind of like rebuilding, right? Like it's not all just age, but I mean, guys that are like the situation's unknown for like what this year is going to be, who are, kind of like second-ish contract guys, like ETN, second-ish contract guys, meaning they haven't gotten it yet. And you think they could, are like ETN, Javante. There was someone else I was just looking at. What the hell? Even Chase Brown. Like those guys are in like a category, or like they kind of fit the mold of a build more than like, I mean, it's easy to say like, oh yeah, go after like Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, CMC. Like these guys are going to be kind of similarly priced, like definitely like some are going to be a little more pricey than others, but I think they're all relatively gettable depending on what team they're on, right? And then you have guys like a DeAndre Swift, or even, I mean, honestly, throw Jalen Warren in there, Trey Benson, and like that's kind of like I would kind of put them in the same group as like, Tyler Algier, Rashad White. Like Ramondre is probably a cheap guy who could like it. I mean, look at how they were using him in the playoffs, but like Algier and Blake Corum, like guys that you could see going somewhere else and maybe not getting like a huge contract, but like we've seen something from these guys, so I don't know. Like, yeah, like I agree with the Josh Jacobs call, but like my favorite three guys to like go after right now that kind of like split the difference between some of these molds are ETN, Javante, and Chase Brown, honestly, because like we've seen it. We don't know what their situation is going to be, and you might be buying low right now, but I feel like their cost is essentially fair because I kind of value them all similarly, I guess.
Yeah, some other names to throw out there, like Chuba Hubbard, I think is a buy right now. Very good chance he's like Carolina's guy, and Rico Dowdle's gone. I know they say there's yeah, if you want to throw Jonathan Brooks in there, that's fine.
No, I meant like what about him for Chuba's production?
Oh yeah.
No, I know that's like I'm just being stupid. Not that he couldn't affect it, but I'm just saying like, oh, what about that?
Tony Pollard, all the way down to RB43.
That's a good one.
The guy's, I think was RB28 last year. Like you're buying him way under his floor. And what if the Titans, like, what if Pollard scores 10 touchdowns instead of 5? Because he's actually on a team that can move the ball, and he does exactly what he's been doing the last 4 years, putting up 1,300 total yards. But now he's getting 10 touchdowns. He's going to be a top 20, 15 guy, maybe not 15, but top 20 guy pretty easily. Even like James Conner is like way down there. I wouldn't be shocked. He's still under contract with the Cardinals, I believe. I wouldn't be shocked if he's just like has one more good year in him. Doesn't have a whole lot of tread on the tires, like, or I should say, like, he didn't play at all last year, so like that could give him one more really good year. And And he just feels like, I know they have a new coaching staff coming in there. They do have an out with this contract, so they can save $7 million. So maybe they go out. I just wouldn't be shocked if Connor just falls on a team and he's just like awesome for a team one more year. I don't mind taking a shot on him. So those are some names there. David Montgomery, I was kind of like tossing around there. I was kind of like hesitant about him this year, and it kind of played out that way. I was like, is this the year that, it kind of becomes like, rather than 1A, 1B, it's like he's the clear 2. That being said, it's like mostly just touchdowns. Like he was a couple 100 yards short from what he had been doing with the Lions. But like the biggest thing to me was like he didn't get double-digit touchdowns. So like, I don't know. Wouldn't be shocked if he has a little bit of a bounce back, top 24 season, RB24 or something. So those are just some names there.
What about Najee or the 306?
I guess Najee, but the torn Achilles for a player. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter too much for Najee because he wasn't very fast and elusive anyways. Yeah, I'd probably just take Najee, to be honest.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw him out there. Like, not that, I mean, the 306 ain't going to be anything, most likely anyways, kind of thing. Like, not that it can't be, but just like Najee. What about J.K. Dobbins? Again, like this really, really is dependent on the build of your team. And like, are you just trying to get like as many bench pieces as possible that could get some starts and that are in uncertain situations versus like, do you actually need an RB2 or a flex type guy? So
yeah. I would go Stroud and Nacua.
Yes.
Although, man, Stroud does scare me a little bit. But
I mean, it can't get much worse in Houston as far as like what their line was doing or not doing, I guess is the better way to put it. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like Houston has had that problem for a long fucking time. Like, I remember Deshaun Watson being there, and it was just like, man, I know like him, 4 or 5 years ago, like he's better than this. And he has no protection. And I don't think that necessarily just gets solved. Like, but it's a very, very obvious problem for them. And like, I don't think that like what Drake May did this year is that far off from what we've seen from Stroud. Like given like if he had his best year, like it could have been this, I'm not banking on it, like I think May's the obvious, like May over Stroud is like not like really like being controversial or anything, but I would take Stroud and like the big upgrade with Puka over Myers.
Yeah, everyone kind of shits on like Stroud for how he ended, but like Drake May was not good in the playoffs. Like he was really bad himself. He threw 4 interceptions. He had 7 fumbles. He lost 4 of them. So he turned the ball over 8 times in 4 games in the playoffs. Like
granted against the best defenses in the league, essentially.
Sure.
So
yeah, I mean Stroud was playing tough defenses as well, right? Like he played the Chargers and the Patriots. And I think the Patriots had a pretty good defense. They kept like that Super Bowl. Like the only reason we were still watching in the fourth quarter is because we're like, oh, okay. Like they're still only 2 possessions down somehow, right? Like the Patriots defense definitely kept them in there. So
yeah.
Now I know Stroud had like a horrendous game, the 4 interceptions and he had 5 fumbles and 5 interceptions in 2 games. So he lost 2 of those fumbles. So he turned the ball over 7 times in 2 games. But like Drake May was not good either. So I don't think you necessarily need to add much to it though, to be honest. Like, I don't think I want to add too much to that just because I do think the drop off obviously from May to Stroud is relatively significant. Just not even necessarily maybe because of production, but how we're going to perceive Drake May all offseason versus Stroud.
Right.
So
I kind of feel like the situation for Drake May, like as far as his pass catchers go, and maybe some more designed runs. Not that, like, anyways, like I think it can only go up for him, but similarly, like, given like what Shroud was doing, with what he had also is kind of like you can kind of make the case like there's definitely some parallels there given the line.
Yeah, their offensive line sucked for the Patriots too. Like near the end there. So their tackle that they drafted, Will Campbell, he needs to move to guard. This is when they talk about short arms. This is why they talk about short arms, because like Will Campbell could not deal with those athletic pass rushers in the NFL. I don't know. Maybe he can improve. He's a rookie, but I don't know. If you want to add those couple thirds, if you really want the Nakua side, then sure. Like I'm fine with that. So
yeah, the 202 might be a bit rich, but again, if you feel strongly about it, like I'm not completely against that either.
Yeah. Evening we are taking off though, unfortunately. But we'll be back Saturday morning, adding Sunday evening to the slate as well. Probably do some rookie mocks Sunday evening. So join us for those since we have the players in the sleeper database now, most of them. So appreciate everyone. It's good to be back. And we will see you all on Saturday. Bye.